back in front of you after the weekend of the virtual property show. And I hope many of you tuned in and you all left with as much information and valuable information as possible. It was an absolutely incredible weekend, and there were some absolutely amazing speakers. So I must admit, I did very much enjoy myself, and it was an honor to be many of yours hosts for the Saturday afternoon. But today, like I mentioned, we are back at the Developer Show, and this is a program that showcases upcoming developments. We talk about investments, and we also show you how you can find yourself in the up and coming new development called Dairy Mews. My name is Chad, and I'll be your host. And today we are joined by Coral Douglas, who is the marketing manager for Tomasa Developments. Coral, it is a pleasure to have you on today. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks, Chad. Thank you so much for having us. It's a beautiful day today, so feeling good.
It's more than a pleasure. Now, Coral is standing in for Dave, who is inundated with clients, which is something I'm sure you're very happy to know. So Coral's a marketing manager. She's going to take us through as many of the marketing aspects and also a little bit of the information about it, a slight bit of the finances, but I think it's going to be a very interesting interview. So Coral, I'm going to start with a question I start with for pretty much everybody who comes on the show.
Yes. Okay.
And that is, tell me a bit about yourself. So tell me what you do and who you are, as well as tell me about the team, specifically the sales team, and what would a client be expecting if they call up Tomasa Developments and they speak to one of the sales guys? What kind of service can they expect other than obviously great service? And also tell me a bit about Tomasa Developments themselves. How long have they been around? What are you guys previously responsible for? I'd love to hear more about it.
Okay, perfect. So Tomasa Developments specializes in residential homes on a secure estates. I think we pride ourselves in direct contact with clients and good communication, good relationship with clients. So a client can expect to phone Dave Reese, who is an incredible sales director, and he will manage the process of everything pretty much with the sales team. And yeah, so that's what a client can expect when they approach Tomasa Developments. Tomasa Developments used to be called Tomasa Trading, and we worked with Leon Trickett who started the company, and he started building houses in Cotswold Downs, which is an estate in KZN as well. And yeah, so we've been building homes, I think, for over 20 years. And yeah, we moved to St. John's Village about 7 years ago and started building homes here. St. John's is a fairly new estate, and it's a beautiful country estate out in the Midlands. And yeah, we choose estates that are beautiful and have incredible natural surrounds. And I think that's what sets us apart, that we love the natural surrounds, and we feel that's an important part of the experience of buying a home and creating a home.
Now, I just wanted to ask you, Dave, maybe standing on the other side of your computer, pointing his finger at you, shaking it, and make sure you only say nice things about him.
Yes, maybe. Yeah.
You mentioned something that I think is so key, and that is, you said communication is a very big part of Tomasa Developments. And I feel communication is probably the biggest part of real estate, where so many people start trying to interact with real estate agents and they don't feel like it's that back and forth communication. So knowing you guys are fully committed to the communication within the industry is massive, and it's really nice to hear that. Now, the development of the hour, that's Dairy Mews. So can you introduce us to Dairy Mews?
Yes. Okay. Dairy Mews is situated in St. John's Village, which is in the Midlands. We are about a 5-minute drive from Howick and just on the outskirts, basically, of the town Howick. Dairy Mews is beautiful. It's a country kind of farm style scene. A mews is basically, so the name that we chose for the development, it's the word mews, as I'm sure a lot of you will know, is basically, it's a row of like an old barn or an old farm style house or something that was used for farming and is now turned into residential homes. And so I think something unique about our development is that it was a dairy farm, exactly where we were, or roundabout where we have built. There was cows and a dairy farm and yeah, I don't know the details, but I don't know much about farming, to be honest. But yeah, I do know that there is a rich heritage and history behind that. So we've called our homes dairy mews. There actually are cows on the estate still. Yeah, they're not dairy cows, but they provide quite an idyllic feel towards the estate, and they are beautiful. Yeah, so that's a bit about dairy mews. They are semi-detached homes, so it actually looks like a mews. And there's 4 of them at the moment. So we've just built 4 semi-detached homes, 3 bedrooms. Or yeah, 3 bedrooms is the first 4, and then we'll develop into 2 different types further on. So we're close to finishing. We're actually just doing landscaping at the moment, and yeah, it's looking beautiful.
I must say, you paint quite a nice picture of the idyllic scenery down there. I mean, taking a drive down to Durban, everybody I'm sure is very, very familiar with Howick and just how beautiful the green grass and the pastures are, as well as the weather. So that plus the fact that you guys have put so much thought in the heritage of where you're deciding to do this development is very, very interesting to know. And I'm sure it must look absolutely incredible. And during the break, we will cut to a bunch of photos and videos of the development and all the different photos of it. So I'm keen to see that as well. A question I wanted to ask you is, you said you've got 4 homes built currently. How many are you planning in total? So how big is this development going to be?
We're planning 21 homes, I think. Yeah, we're planning, we've got a row in the front, which has a beautiful view of the estate, and those are 4. And then behind that will be a row with 4 at the bottom and 4 at the top. So we'll do a double story. That will be type 2 and type 3. And then behind that, we'll have another row. So I don't know how many that builds up to, but yeah, it's quite a few. Yeah.
You've got a nice amount of available homes, as well as it's still small enough to know that you're going to enjoy quite a seclusive and private home life, essentially.
Yes.
I think a lot of people may be tentative of moving into developments where they are planning 100, 200, 150 homes, just because we live in South Africa, so there's quite a diverse amount of people you might end up with. People that have their quirks, and I think those down a lot of money and maybe stuck next to a bunch of neighbors that end up being your best friends, to put it politely.
Yeah, so that's true.
Well, I do want to ask you, why Howick Mews? Why did you guys choose that area?
What do you mean, Howick as the village?
Yeah, why did you guys choose that specific area to put this development in?
Okay, there are a number of reasons. I think the first one is that it's in a beautiful area, but it's also close to amenities and shopping center. There's a shopping center, not even a 5-minute walk down the road. It's called the St. John's shopping center. So it's part of the bigger development of St. John's Village. It's a small shopping center with a Pick and Pay and various health shops and a restaurant. And then I would say that apart from being close to amenities and that, there's also incredible schools in the area. So my class is just down the road, and Hilton College, and in Pietermaritzburg. I mean, it's not as close to Pietermaritzburg. It's near Howick, but I think to send your kids to boarding school or to just be in an area where there's also primary schools that are incredible, like Ladsworth and Hilton and St. Anne's and Cowan House. So I think that's a really good advantage as well, apart from just the beautiful nature and the beautiful surrounds at St. John's Village.
And you have in about 2 hours drive, I think, isn't it? Isn't it about a 2 hours drive down to the beach as well?
Yes. So we are about an hour and a half away from Durban, and then obviously you can travel up or down the coast to different areas. Yeah.
And that is definitely a selling point. As somebody who made the journey down to Durban, it is longer than I thought, and I would rather fly. The next question I wanted to ask is, who have you decided to target with this development? So when you guys decided, okay, I want to do it near the St. John's Village, Who do you think this is the customers we want to appeal to, and why those customers?
So particularly for Dairy Mews, we are looking for young professionals or young families or people who don't need a huge space to call home. It's quite spacious in the way that it's been designed, so it feels quite spacious, but it is a smallish kind of home with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and a open plan living room, lounge, and dining room and kitchen. Yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for the viewers who don't know, and I mean, Carl, you don't know as well. So I live up in Joburg and Sandton specifically. So everything is small in Sandton.
Okay.
So, fantastic.
Yeah.
The other question I wanted to ask is how many units are available still to purchase?
At the moment, we've got the 4 units that are ready to be sold. And then obviously, as we build further, there's more room for customization and that. So we have, I think, just all of it basically, because we're trying to sell the first 4. It's been a difficult time with COVID, and I'm sure you're going to ask that question soon. But yeah, it's starting to look beautiful, and we're really proud of them. And we know that they're going to sell soon. So yeah.
Yeah, I think COVID's put a dent in everybody's plan, specifically when it comes to finishing up their developments. But now that we are ending on the tail end of COVID and the market is sitting where it is, which is such a prime state to buy, I think your offering here is very, very unique. The other question I want to ask is the units that are available, the ones that we've just spoken about. We've spoken about the 3 bedrooms. Are all of them 3 bedrooms? Are there some 4-bedroom offerings? Are there some 2-bedroom offerings? Or if you're moving into Dairy Mews, are you 100% guaranteed you can find yourself a nice 3-bedroom that's been kitted out specifically to cater for the people we've spoken about?
Yes. So at the moment, the 4 that are built have 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. And so it's specifically for young professionals or young families. It's the perfect starter home, basically. So we actually, it's perfectly designed for a small family. There's 2 bedrooms, and then there's another main ensuite bedroom. And it's beautiful to have a close-knit family and have the kids close by to where your main ensuite bedroom is. So I think the winning aspect of it is actually just the secure environment as well of the village. So having small kids running around, being completely safe, having a beautiful view. And you mentioned one of the difficulties of living in a big development is not being sure who your neighbors are going to be. I think the incredible aspect of living on an estate like St. John's is that it's all brought to not a higher, but the management of St. John's Village. And there's certain rules, and I mean, we are allowed pets, but that is very much neatly controlled, and there's lots of room for freedom, but there's also, I think, a lot of respect and appreciation for another person's privacy and their yes, exactly. Yes.
I think that's a huge thing. Is you want to go there, you want to know your neighbors, you want to have a good relationship with your neighbors, but you also want to be able to be secluded enough for it still to be peaceful. Well, Coral, what I think we're going to do now is let's jump to a quick break. All the viewers can then take a look at Dairy Mews. I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised, and we will be right back after this short break.
Perfect. Thank you, Chad.
Pleasure. Good afternoon and welcome back to the Developer Show. If you've just joined us, my name is Chad and I'll be your host. And today we are joined by Carl Douglas, who is the marketing manager for Tomasa Developments. Carl is taking us through their latest development on the way to Durban, just there by Howick, called Dairy Mews. Carl, thank you once again for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure to host the first half with you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's more than a pleasure. So, Carl, before we left, we actually hadn't touched on pricing. So, will you talk to me about the pricing? I believe stage one or phase one of this development of Dairy Mews is the first 4 houses. So, what is the pricing?
It is 2.675 million. And yeah, that comes without a transfer duty and tax-free. So yeah, we are actually, this is a special offer there's a special offer at the moment for 2.6 million the month of October. So yeah, I think that's definitely one to go for, because we will be increasing that to 2.675 the end of October.
So essentially, if anybody gets in touch with you and puts down the offer to purchase within October, they're saving 75,000 Rand on this house.
Yes, exactly.
That is not too shabby. You can buy yourself quite a nice tiny Christmas present for a saving of 75,000 Rand. Now, there was something else that I wanted to ask you, which was phase one completed, ready to move in, I believe, or was close to completion.
Yes.
When is phase two going to launch?
It's going to launch early next year.
Early next year. And the pricing for that?
First quarter.
First quarter.
Sorry?
The pricing for that, will a customer be able to then find it on private property?
Yes, definitely. They will be able to find us.
Yes. So if all of this sells out, nobody needs to be discouraged. Early next year, people can get in touch with you. There's going to be a
Yes, exactly.
People are going to be happy to hear about that as well.
Okay, perfect.
Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is what are the pros of purchasing within a development? You've mentioned the transfer duty. So the one is nobody needs to pay transfer duty. What are the other pros of purchasing within a development?
Yes, okay. So one of the pros of purchasing within a development is the security aspect. So it creates a great peace of mind in a secure environment. So at St. John's Village, we have a 24-hour security center, and obviously completely secure fencing, and yeah, so that's a really amazing aspect of purchasing in a development. Another pro is maintenance and general upkeep. So because it's part of a body corporate, the development, there's things like the lawn is de-weeded and rubbish is collected and the streets are maintained. And so the general upkeep of the development is spick and span, and that in turn increases the value of the property that you will purchase, and that'll increase over time. Another pro is the community standards aspect that we mentioned earlier about respecting one another's lifestyle, and that goes to a larger body, the St. John's Village management, and so that's quite well controlled. And yeah, and I think another pro is the guarantee that Tomasa provides, or that a development will provide. So we stick around. So we basically are located on St. John's Village, and we have a team here, a core team, and we are here basically to fix snags for the next few years and make sure that your home, anything that goes wrong, will help with that afterwards in the next few years. So we're not going anywhere. We are here to make sure that your home is well kept.
It's very cool to hear that you guys have set up a satellite office on site, because it does speak volumes about I'd say the confidence you have in your work. I think a lot of people who aren't really that confident or providing such a great service, and I'm not saying the people that aren't putting satellite offices aren't confident, but you know that they are definitely not going to stick around, because they're going to have people banging on their door all the time. So for you guys to say, hey, listen, if you got any problems, we're right here. You drive out the gate or we're inside the gate. Come to us, come speak to us. It brings a lot of confidence into the purchase you're making. I mean, purchasing a house, that's a 20-year commitment. And some
mm.
our other podcast host during the virtual property show we had last week and said something that has stuck with me, saying that it's
Yes.
one of the longest relationships you're ever going to be in, 20 years.
Yes, that is
First
true.
buyers, and it is their longest relationship. So it's really nice
Yes,
that you guys have
exactly.
done that.
Yeah, exactly. We're in it for the long run.
That's good to hear. The other thing, we were talking about it offline a little bit, so I definitely want to talk about it here, which is the customization. You'd mentioned it's sectional title, so like you'd said,
Yes.
everything is taken care of, both the lawns on the grounds as well as the lawns within the units. But what
Yes.
kind of customization is there within these sectional title units? If I decide to meet with you guys and I decide I'd really like to change maybe the tiling, maybe the finishes in the kitchen, what do you offer?
Mm.
Say almost standard, and what can you do? However, you can't guarantee that that work can be done. I know that these units are close to being completed.
Yes, yes. Okay, so there is room for changes. As we have built, we near completion with the first 4 houses. This proves more difficult, and it will at times be at the expense of the purchaser. And it depends. I mean, we'll make a sales agreement, and an agreement will come of that. In terms of the structure of the building, so no major changes, I would say.
So you're happy to cover small changes, no
Yeah,
problem. But
finishes.
the bigger changes, there's not going to be any breaking down of walls or anything like that. But if the guys want to change the color of their cupboards, they must speak to you. And if
Yes,
you
of
can do it,
course.
you're happy to do it.
Yes,
And
of
if you can't do
course.
it, you'll explain to them why and why not, and you know
Yes,
what the next steps are.
yes, yes. But we are very ready to accommodate. It would be an agreement particular to that situation. Yeah, I think we're quite confident in the way that our buildings are designed. And so in terms of customization, they designed in such a way that the lightness and the airiness and the neutral finishes provide a lot of room for interior decor that is your own, and you can make your own. Yeah, you can make the home feel like your own. And so that's a crucial aspect, I think, is that a lot of our clients actually, you'll walk into their home and it'll be completely different to the next client's home. And I think that's a beautiful aspect with Tomas. We have that relationship with our clients where we do offer our services in helping them create what they would like to create and the home that they'd like to envision and have for themselves. Yeah.
So you get to create your own unique home.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Now, you're talking about the light and the air and the greenery within this area. Could you tell me a bit
Yes.
about the other amenities that Dairy Mews offers?
Yeah. Okay, that's an important aspect. So Dairy Mews, obviously within St. John's Village, there's trail walks around the estate, and we have 4 dams. So there's obviously fishing is one of the activities that can happen, and a bird hide, so a lot of birding and just a general appreciation for nature. And then we also have what we call the Orchid House, which is a facility that residents can use for functions and just, I mean, a lot of the women will have Pilates in the morning, and before COVID, there was different events that would happen, so community events. So they'd have, say, poker on a Thursday night every week, and just like really community-driven activities within that place, within the Orchid House, which the residents speak of very fondly, and they love the different activities that happen there. And then there's a pool just outside of the Orchid House. Yeah, I would say that the greatest aspect of the estate is just the beautiful natural surround. So if you love the outdoors and you love living in a spacious open area, I think that's also another aspect, is that a lot of the estate is a reserve, and so it will be conserved for the purpose of not restoring, but maintaining the nature and conserving it. I think that's the word. Yeah, so that's a huge aspect, I think, and I think it's not a compromise. I think is that we don't want the estate to look like it's full of houses, but we want to keep that open airy aspect and that sense of space and just freedom, I suppose. Yeah.
Now, Carl, you definitely are painting an absolutely idyllic picture of the estate.
Yeah.
The question I was going to ask when you're mentioning that is, it seems like you put so much thought into what amenities people need and what they'd use most, but also
Exactly.
what you could put there to help connect the residents to nature. Because I feel a lot of people maybe move into their house and never go out of it again. They'll go out for restaurants, they'll go out for holidays or to see friends.
Yes.
Very rarely will they explore the estate because all there is a clubhouse. And for you guys to put in hiking trails and dams and things for the kids to go and play in and play about and make it this exploration around the development, that sounds absolutely incredible. But the biggest question I think are going to be a lot on people's minds is, how does that impact the levies? So what have you done with the levies?
Okay. The levies we've tried to keep at a minimum. So it's about 1,700 in total, all the levies for Dairy Mews, and that includes the general estate levy and then the development levy itself. And so we keep it at a minimum, but I think it's definitely worth it when you see what you are getting for it, which is the maintenance of the development and the maintenance of the gardens and rubbish being collected, and that. So I think it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. It does seem like you've tried to keep the pricing at such a competitive rate that it appeals to everybody. That if you can afford the price, you can most likely afford the levies as well. Sorry, my English.
Exactly. No.
The next question is, if I want to purchase this, so we've run through Dairy Mews. It sounds absolutely incredible. You've sold me. Now I want to purchase. How do I get in touch with you, and what are the kind of steps I can look forward to going through with you guys?
Okay, perfect. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to phone Dave Reese, who is our director of sales. He's incredible. He's had, I think, over 20 years experience, and he knows his stuff. And so he's the perfect person to go to. He makes you feel at ease, and we basically we deal with all the aspects of purchasing the home so that it makes it easy for the clients. We have Candace, who is our administrator in the office here at St. John's Village, and she's incredible. She works with all the paperwork and the certificates and everything needed to make sure that the home is purchased in a timely fashion and as far as we can, and in a way that puts you at ease.
So really, if somebody's contacting you or Dave, they need to know that they're in good hands. They're going to be almost joining part of the Tomasa family. And is Dave completely happy and willing to help with any questions? If somebody wants to check their affordability with you guys, would Dave say, hey, let's sit down, let's schedule a Zoom call maybe, or a meeting, let's call over the phone if you can't make it, and let's discuss it?
Yes, that's definitely what we provide, or service that we provide. Dave is very happy to help with the bond process and any questions that a client might have, and just very happy to help with all aspects of the purchase process. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Do not be scared to get in touch with Tomasa Developments, because they are going to help you through it. And it really does seem with this interview with Carl that they are more than happy to help you through it. So then, Carl, it leads me to my last question. It is a regular on the show, and that is, you guys have got a relationship with private property. I know you are quite new with private property. You've just recently signed on. So talk to me a bit about it. How has it felt being part of the private property family, and how has it maybe helped you on your marketing?
It's been incredible so far. We've had really good communication and really good relationship with private property. We have just signed on, so we've been with private property for only a month, but we are very impressed with the service that we've received, and just impressed with the communication and the relationship that we have with private property. And we know that this is a good opportunity. We've been offered this opportunity for the development show, and we know that private property is putting in the absolute 100%. And we are very grateful, and we hope to sell more homes in the future with you.
Coral, we hope to continue impressing you, and we're definitely going to do as much as possible to continue getting you guys online and getting you guys in front of clients who are happy and
Yes.
interested in the homes that you're providing, which I'm sure everybody tuning in here today is very much so. So for everybody tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. Coral, thank you so much for stepping in and taking this interview with us. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Chad. We appreciate it. Well, I appreciate it.
More than a pleasure.
Thanks.
So that is all the time we have for today. Coral, hopefully we'll see you on for your next development. For everybody else, join me tomorrow. I'm looking forward to interviewing my next developer. And as I mentioned, guys, we are not going anywhere every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Coral, thank you so much. Everybody else, thank you. Bye.